Here are 8 gifts that are on my inner nerd wish list. I've organized them from $10 to $15 stocking stuffers to big ticket items up to about $200 to $300. Let's go. This is the perfect stocking stuffer. It's a 3D brain teaser that usually goes for $10 to $15. The idea behind them is you can break them apart into smaller pieces, and you solve the brain teaser by putting it back together into their original shape. I actually have one that I bought from a gift shop a few years back, and I couldn't find the exact one on Amazon, but this one's pretty close. It's a wooden robot that can be put back into a cube when the puzzle is solved. And it was actually pretty tricky to put together, so I actually ended up cheating by looking at the design on the box. But anyways, there's a bunch of different types online. Here's a multi-pack with 4 different puzzles that look fun. But in general, the cheapest one I saw was $7 or $8, and they can go up in price to maybe $30 depending on how big or complex the puzzle is. These are so cute. They remind me of a science experiment. They're color-changing mugs where they start off completely black, and when you pour something hot in them like coffee or tea, they reveal an image or text. These ones are $14 for 2 mugs, and you can also get these fancy porcelain ones for $30 for 2, so they're definitely more expensive than your typical mug, but I think it's worth it just for kicks on a special occasion. There are a lot of different designs you can buy, and there are also some sites where you can custom design your own mug. Like you can put in your own quotes or your own pictures. I actually ordered one a couple years ago, and for mine at least, the picture was still a little visible even without the hot liquid in it, but that might have just been the quality of mug that I got. And just a quick science lesson, these work because they coat the mug with a heat-sensitive ink called thermochromic ink, sort of like the stuff in old school mood rings, and when you put the hot liquid in, the image on the mug will appear because that ink turns transparent due to the heat. I mean, it's pretty cool, right? We're getting pretty nerdy with this book. It's called Math with Bad Drawings by Ben Orlin. It's definitely for older students, maybe high school and above, and full disclosure, I haven't read it, mainly because I found it while I was looking up gifts for this video, but I definitely would want to. From the previews I've read, it basically makes you look at math in a completely different light. He talks about how math is typically presented to students in such a button-up way, and it doesn't seem relevant to life and it's just boring. But he challenges you to look at math like a fun brain teaser to solve. And overall, he makes you look at simple math problems, or even the game tic-tac-toe, a little bit differently. There are also a bunch of funny pictures that are his own doodles. I don't know, it's kind of like an adult picture book about math. And trust me, I typically don't read math books in my free time, but this one is definitely one I would give a chance. $20 for a hard copy on Amazon. Ooh, this is something I thought was super cool. It's called a storm glass. It's this liquid in glass that's apparently supposed to predict the weather. I think it works something like a barometer, which measures air pressure. But anyways, based off of something about the weather, the liquid inside crystallizes and becomes cloudy before certain weather patterns. And the size and appearance of the crystals supposedly tell you what that weather pattern is that day. There unfortunately aren't that many reviews about this item, so I'm a little skeptical as to whether it works or not. Looking at the small amount of reviews, some people say that crystals never formed, while others say it did work. So I'm not really sure what to believe, but if you do end up getting it, or at least have one, let me know in the comments what your experiences are because I'm super curious. If anything, it'd be a pretty cool decoration in your house, or in your room or desk at work. This is something I actually received as a gift from my parents, and it's similar to the 3D brain teaser earlier in the list. They knew I love puzzles and working with my hands, so this was actually the perfect gift that I wasn't really expecting. It's a 3D puzzle. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, but it's 3D and has moving parts. I got this wooden roller coaster one, which is really fun to put together. When you open it up, it comes in flat sheets of wood that are laser cut into shapes, and you have to put all of these tiny pieces together to make the final product. It definitely takes some patience and dexterity, but it was kind of perfect because I didn't have too much going on at the moment. It took me maybe 3 days and a couple of seasons of Schitt's Creek to build it, and I felt so accomplished at the end. One problem I did have is that the gears did get stuck sometimes, so it was hard to figure out what was causing it to stick, but it was pretty smooth other than that. On top of that, this same company has a bunch of other designs, I'm not really a fan of how they separated it into boys and girls, but they do have a lot of cool designs. My favorite's probably this robot. They're so cool. But anyways, all of these guys are about $40 to $50. This one is classified as the #1 bestseller in drinking games on Amazon, although I'm fairly sure you can play it without drinking. It's a cross between foosball and air hockey, but definitely not as bulky as a full-size air hockey table or foosball table. So you control your player through a magnet underneath a table, and you're supposed to move your player around to try to score on your opponent by getting the ball into the goal. There are also these magnetic white things that I don't really understand, but apparently the magnets stick to your player, which is a bad thing because it gives your opponent points, I think? I don't know. It looks fun, and 10 out of 10, I would definitely play it with friends. It's $60 to buy, and yeah, it just seems like a cool party game. Alright, let's get into the big ticket items. This is a DIY build-it-yourself Bluetooth radio. So perfect if you know anyone who is interested in electrical engineering or circuitry. So a DIY Bluetooth radio means that once you build the thing, you can use Bluetooth to use this as a speaker to play music from your phone, you can listen to the radio, and it also has an aux cable you can plug in if you just want to use it as a speaker in general. In the kit, it looks like you get laser cut pieces that you have to assemble and glue together, and you also have to figure out the wiring, but I'm sure it comes with instructions that you can follow. I just think it looks really cool, and it looks like something that we would build in my EE classes in college, but it definitely looks a lot better and just more aesthetic. From the reviews I read, the sound quality is pretty good considering you're building it yourself. However, at $100, it's definitely more expensive than your typical radio. Alright, last one. This one's kind of fancy. It's a super cool DIY watch kit from DIY Watch Club. They sell their own watchmaking kits that are all around $200 to $300, and I know there's a whole watchmaking community out there, so obviously if you're looking for superior craftsmanship, these are not the watches for you, especially because you're going to be the one making them. But I think it's a cool activity if you're into tinkering or engineering or watches. On their website, they say that most of the kits take about 2 hours to assemble, and there are a couple designs you can choose from. Unfortunately, it looks like some are already out of stock, I'm guessing because the holidays are coming up, but there are still 5 or 6 in stock, at least while I'm filming this. Alright, thanks for watching. Again, I'm not endorsing the quality of any of these items, these are just things that I found online that looked really cool to me. So I would definitely do your own research, figure out what would make a good gift for your person, and let me know how it goes.